I'll, I'll give some project background and then turn it over to Mark, the developer, but, good to have you guys. So a little bit of background on the Restore New York program. It's a program that's run by Empire State Development to revitalize communities and induce commercial investment. It can cover up to 90% of the project costs. 90% is kind of the sticker percentage. A lot of times we find that it ends up being more around 50% when the state wants to kind of leverage as much of the private investment as they can. So we always kind of coach clients on being prepared for it to be more in the 50% range. In our area, for a population our size, the project can, or the award can be up to $2 million if the project warrants it. We're not in that range, thankfully, or not. We like this program because unlike some of the other New York State programs like New York Main Street, it's not as heavy a lift both on the application and if you get the award on the administration. There's just not as much environmental, there's not quite as much historic scrutiny, and ESD as opposed to HCR is just a little more hands off. So it ends up being a lot easier to administer. Some projects that have been prior recipients of the funding program that you'll be familiar with are Brian and Megan's laundromat property, 4953 Main Street, which I think we can all agree the before and after of that is really positive for the Main Street. And then similarly, Restore is not the only source of funding, but one of the key sources of funding for the Wilmarth block, both to rebuild the building that burned and then the repairs to the adjoining buildings. So again, the overall impact for Greenwich Main Street is pretty significant there. Hudson Falls is also a community that's really been active and successful with Restore projects. So up and down there Main Street, especially around the square, there's several buildings that have been renovated because of that funding. For round 8, this year's round, $60 million was set aside by the state of New York, which is down considerably from prior years. Capital Region, they're estimating that they'll probably get about $6 million of that 60 million. So again, not that much. They received about $35 million of total requests through the letter of interest phase. So it's going to be a very competitive round. But we have a really good project to, add into that slate of projects. So yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic with our chances. Applications are due May 22nd with the support of Jane and Amanda and just the village staff. We have that in a good place. Mark's been making really good efforts to get the information to Lavella that we need in a timely manner. So ducks are in a row and we like where that application is at. Awards, you never really know. I think Joe sort of dropped July timeframe in our walkthrough. And then in terms of Mark's project specifically, the buildings 83 through 87 Main Street. So it's Idle Knot and formerly Wicked Wits. So that's now a vacant commercial ground floor unit. And then there's 2 vacant upper floor units. All 4 units are going to be renovated and receive benefit through the project. 4,200 square feet. Overall, a lot of the work is happening on the interior, some in the rear garages, but then there is going to be improvements to the facade, lighting, general scraping, painting, improvements to some of the rotted trim. So there will be that, facelift, uplift along the Main Street corridor, which is always nice. We're going to be in the $170,000 to $200,000 range, depending on how some of the final costs come back. But we're leveraging the total project costs, including the purchase, are $400,000. So it's a nice gap. We can show that we're leveraging a decent amount of private funds. So that will hopefully rate well, score well with the reviewers. I think that's about it. We had a walkthrough on Friday with Joe Landy from Empire State Development. I thought he was really positive and helpful in his comments and gave us some good tips in terms of things to emphasize in the application narrative. And I think that he kind of expressed some cautious optimism for a small but safe project, where there might be some other projects within the Capital Region that are, higher dollar, more leveraged private funds, but they're a bigger risk in terms of can they follow through on the business model, can they actually occupy the spaces, whereas I think Mark's project is a very kind of, safer bet in terms of their overall portfolio of awards. So that augurs well for us. Mark, anything you want to add specifically about the building renovations, the future use, your vision for, some of the activities you want to see happening there?
Yeah, I'm gonna make half of it, one of the downstairs spaces, photo gallery. And I also wanna teach photography classes. And the Island women and I have talked about doing projects together to get people to come to town. If I'm doing photo classes, that they would do something for the parents, because I'm thinking mostly kids. I judge the 4-H and Scottico Fair and Washington County Fair. And so if kids come to classes, the parents would come to do something at Island and spend some time downtown, which is kind of what I'm looking to do. And the apartments upstairs will be nicely rented. They'll be nicely finished.
Any,
Do you have an application completed that we can look at, or is that something you share?
that I shared on Friday.
Oh, I didn't look at it.
Okay.
Sorry.
I can make hard copies available. I can print them out tomorrow and drop.
I can look at it. Did you, okay,
I sent it to the mayor.
that's my email.
Okay.
I'm still new.
It's not terribly long, at least, so it won't be a ton to catch up on. It's like maybe 7 pages. But definitely if you heard anything from the walkthrough on Friday that you don't feel like is fully captured in that, I think,
Oh, I did look at that.
yeah,
Okay. I didn't have anything to add. I just would have liked to have a copy here for these guys to look at too. Jane, is that something we can print out? I can go get it. You mind? I'll forward it. Okay. Open it up to other comments as I forward that over to Rachel.
questions, comments from the floor?
Do we have the EAF here, Arts 1 and Arts 2? Oh,
We
wait.
do,
No.
yes,
There.
it's in a folder.
It's basically a restoration kind of thing.
Yeah, the only thing that we had our environmental group look at a little more closely, because it has been an issue like with Megan and Brian, but it was just the bald eagle's nest.
Okay.
But we're a greater distance away from the known nest there, and the nature of the scope of work is even more interior. Like Brian and Megan did some work on the garage, which is even closer to the river. So the recommendation from our environmental group is that was not an issue in this particular case.
I don't know, maybe there's a bald eagle that's so close to the river.
Where is it? It's up the river a little way. Right?
Yeah, I think there's a few along, from village out towards Green Beach. But I don't know exactly where the nests are.
DEC has a map, right, that shows
Yeah,
kind of a radius around and what protections you need for the.
it doesn't give you the location of the nest, but it lets you know how close your particular building that you put the address in is, within the range.
So if nobody has any other questions, I think just we'll have that supporting document you can look through. It's just more detailed on the project.
Yeah.
But I apologize for not having that printed out ahead of time. No other questions? So we can close the public hearing. And then we need a motion, I guess, to approve the resolution number 2024 for support of the Round 8 Restore application, which is due May 22nd.
I will move.
And second,
A second.
all in favor?
Hi.
Hi.
And then I need to read this, Jane? The resolution?
That's what you just did,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
If you want.
Nope, that's okay. All right, and then we have the resolution number 2024, the negative declaration renovations for 83, 85, 87 Main Street.
I think we have to go through the part 1 though. Unless we've done it.
We have marked on it, and it is right there.
This one.
Yes, those
Mhm.
two, yep.
If I go through it, what do I need to do with this? Let's see, it's filled out assessment form.
It is, but so the idea of this is to discuss the possible environmental impacts of the project. So number one is, does the proposed action only involve the legislative adoption of a plan, local law, ordinance, administrative rule, or regulation? No, it doesn't involve any of those things. Does the proposed action require permit approval or funding from any other government agency? No. Total acreage of the site of the proposed action is 0.12 acres. None of the acres will be disturbed. So the total acreage of the project site is 0.12. The land uses that occur on, are adjoining or near the proposed action are commercial. I believe there's some residential,
Residential,
so
and that is not changing.
no. So there's commercial and residential. Is the proposed action a permitted use under the zoning regulation? Yes. Is it consistent? If anybody has any comments on this, just
Speak up.
pipe right in. Is it consistent with the adopted comprehensive plan? Yes. Is it consistent with the predominant character of the existing built or natural landscape?
Yes.
Yes. Is the site of the proposed action located in, or does it adjoin state listed critical environmental area? No. Will it result in a substantial increase in traffic above the present levels? No. This is just gonna be the same uses that it's always been. It's always been apartments above and commercial below. Are public transportation services available at or near the site? No. Are any pedestrian accommodations or bicycle use available on or near the site of the proposed action? Yes, sidewalks. Good. Does the proposed action meet or exceed the state energy code requirements? This project is not subject to the New York State Energy Code. Will the proposed action connect to an existing public or private water supply? Yes. Will the proposed action connect to existing wastewater facilities? Yes. Does the project site contain or is it substantially contiguous to a building, archaeological site, or district which is listed on the National or State Historic Register of Places, or has been determined by the Commissioner of the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation to be eligible for listing on the historic places? The answer to that is yes. The building is a contributing structure to the SN state and state National Register of has listed the village of Greenwich as a historic district. And the SHPO consultation was started. You know what has been done with SHPO? Is there normally a letter gets sent?
With SHPO, we actually did a CRIS submission. So the CRIS is the state platform for SHPO. So we have all of the plans, floor plans, and the project description submitted to SHPO. Generally, that's a 30-day period for their review. So we likely won't have that back in time for the submission.
Okay,
That's pretty common with a restore application to not necessarily have the no adverse impact letter in hand. at
Okay.
time of Submission.
is the project site or any portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites on the New York State Historic Preservation Office archaeological site inventory? The answer to that is no. Does any portion of the site of the proposed action or lands adjoining the proposed action contain wetlands or other water bodies regulated by a federal, state, or local agency. Yes, that would be the back would kill. Would the proposed action physically alter or encroach into any existing wetland or water body? The answer to that is no. It's all interior or essentially interior work. It doesn't spill out beyond the project site. Identify the typical habitat types that occur on or are likely to be found on the project site. It's checked suburban. I think normally the village is urban, is considered urban. So I think we'll add that urban and suburban. Does the site of the proposed action contain any species of animals or associated habitats listed by the state or federal government as threatened or endangered? Yes. It says bald eagle. So when it says it contains this species, I'm not quite certain what that. It's within a range of that's considered.
There's a, I forget which application question it is, but we have the Restore Application Act actually asks about that, and there's a very well articulated explanation of why the bald eagle issue not felt to be an issue in this particular project.
While she looks for that, will the proposed action create stormwater discharge either from point or non-point sources? No. Does the proposed action include construction or other activities that would result in the impoundment of water or other liquids? For example, a retention pond, waste lagoon, or dam? No. Has the site of the proposed action or adjoining property in the location of an active or closed solid waste site? No. Has the site of the proposed action or adjoining property been subject to remediation, ongoing, complete, or completed for hazardous waste? No. That's that. So on the bald eagle side,
Towards the end, and it's a shorter response.
Right.
The vultures don't fly over there.
Closer, they're on
Okay.
Church Street.
Like those big pines.
so question 15. On this one.
Not all of them.
I think that, I can.
Here's the copy, an extra copy.
Okay. Ready for it? The environmental resource mapper indicates that the project site is within the vicinity of one or more endangered or threatened species. The SEF mapper indicates that the project site is within the vicinity of the bald eagle. Based on a review of the ERM, the bald eagle's nest appears to be located over 2,000 feet from the project site. A jurisdictional determination analysis conducted as part of the previous seeker in the village of Greenwich for a property located closer to the nest and with more extensive exterior construction activities. The NYSDEC, Department of Environmental Conservation, reviewed the jurisdictional determination to determine that the project would not impact the bald eagle, as the current project is located further from the nest, would involve substantially less exterior activities and no ground disturbance. Noise impacts would be minimal. The project would satisfy the National Bald Eagle Management Guidelines, and no significant adverse impacts would occur.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
You want to sign that, all of those, that is verifying that both answers are true and correct.
Thank you.
We're going
Part two.
to part 2.
This one's an easy one. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? No. or small impact may occur. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use of the intensity or use of land? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? No. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact existing private water supplies? No. Subject B, public or private wastewater treatment utilities? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No. Will the proposed action result in adverse change to natural resources? No. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No. Nobody has any comments? I can sign that.
You can sign that and then adopt the negative declaration.
Okay,
What is this?
trade you.
So this is a determination that the action will not result in any significant adverse environmental effects.
We're gonna adopt a negative declaration for 83, 85, 87 Main Street renovation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now with all of this paper flying around, I've officially lost track of the agenda. And I don't know who's up. Thank you. Oh, we're going to motion to approve the general fund vouchers numbers 510 to 553 for $48,086.19.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
And same for water fund vouchers number 92 to 104 for $11,207.02.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
A second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And the same for sewer fund vouchers 72 through 80 for a total of $9,353.96.
I'll move that. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then Rachel, I don't know that we had the capital project fund vouchers.
Yeah,
Did we have that?
yes.
This is one?
Yep.
Okay. So for capital projects fund voucher numbers 39 through 42 for $356,000, $356,020.28. Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And then you all received draft meeting minutes from the meetings from April 15th, April 23rd, and April 30th. We were all very busy and spending time together in April. So a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And on to fire.
Claire, okay, thanks. So for the month of April, was another busy month. Overall, we responded to 35 incidents. So out of the 35 incidents, 23 were in our district. Out of those 23, one was a grass and brush fire up on Ryan Road. 20 first response medical assists, which equate to 57% of all alarms for the month. Then 2 labeled as hazards. One was a carbon monoxide alarm activation on Hill Street. The other one was investigate a smell of propane within the residence on Academy Street. For the remainder of those incidents, we gave mutual aid to 12 responses for the month. It was actually a pretty active month for barn fires across the county. I gave mutual aid twice to Argyle, Easton 4 times, Hebron 1 time, and Middle Falls 4 times, and White Creek for So for the total hours given by the fire department was fire and EMS response 213.5 hours. Training was 113 hours. activities overall was 241.5 hours, totaling 560 hours all in. So thanks for all of you. We did complete the annual fire hose and ladder testing. Came out of that pretty well. Just one length of 1.75 hose along with a couple lengths of 3-inch that failed on us. And we have some replacements going in under this budget. Some members attended training for the state fire police, wildland firefighting, and we do have firefighter Nick Markey finishing up on his interior firefighter operations class. So I'm pleased with that to have him on board. Then I just gave you a list of just up and coming events that we have going on within the month, and just to keep you up to date on what we're doing there. A couple other notes that I did not add into my report. The fire burn ban ends on Wednesday. So we're back to burning again, want to burn, without. And then the other.
That's not 100%. It still has to be recreation work, it can't be brush and whatever.
Thank you, yes, within your jurisdiction. Thank you. And then the last note, and if you don't mind, if I leave and I'll be next door if you need me during the meeting, I'm just finishing up for the town board meeting. I'll be going over there to give them our annual report for tomorrow night at the town board meeting.
And we're brutal over there.
And that's why I'm preparing to make sure I have all the documentation in order.
And you all had a successful golf tournament too this month.
And we did have. Thanks for coming out for that.
That was fun. Thank you.
Any questions? All right,
Thanks.
thank you.
See you, Mark.
You got it.
Sergeant Pinko.
I do not have a golf tournament. You're not that cool yet. So for the month of April, we had 9 cases reported to the Department of Criminal Justice for a total of 48 for the year. We had 3 arrests for a total of 21. We had 120 calls logged at county dispatch for a total of 450 for the year. 1 motor vehicle accident, which is still low for us. I'm actually shocked. We have 4 for the year. Down below are just the arrests that we had and some of the incidents that we assisted with DMS and animal complaints and so forth. We had 13 traffic tickets, which is kind of low for us, for a total of 83 for the year. We had a couple officers out for training. Officer Flynn is now certified as a forensic interviewer, so he can conduct interviews on children that might have been sexually harassed or assaulted. And Patrolman Nussbaum attended a couple trainings, one on how to conduct traffic stops with possible drug encounters, and as well as active shooter training. They call it alert. It's an incident alert level 1. I do have some bad news to report, as we are going to be losing one of our officers to another agency. I just found out today. So I will be covering his shift. I'll be on overnight for a little bit. That's where I'll be if you need me. And we'll start the interview process, I guess, shortly after. So I'll have to meet with you, and we will go through all that fun. He was with us for 6 years, so I mean, it's a pretty long stint for us. So he's moving south to start a family. So good luck.
Sorry to hear that for you, but exciting for him, I'm sure.
Sorry to hear that for him too.
Let us know if you prefer coffee or Red Bull and we'll come see you. We'll take shifts on the overnight. We'll work on that. Okay. Hi.
Time off was, John Hogan took 18 hours of bereavement time over the past month. No major repairs or installations. Equipment breakdowns. Our front end loader had a pretty good hydraulic leak on the brake pedal. Capital Tractor came to the shop, tried to fix it at the shop, realized they needed more parts and dig deeper, so it was down out the Capital for a day and a half. Routine work done. Worked on putting up the banners. Met with the Union Village Festival Committee on upcoming that festival. Put out all the village garbage cans, put up Fenway Park. Gonna start working soon on making sure the splash pad is ready to go. Hopefully by the end of the month. Emergency calls and complaints, water tank road. We ended up putting in some more stone grade in it, and the end of last week, we went up there and put a ditch in it. So far, so good. Working on quotes on the pavement deal. Still looking into that. Hopefully putting in that ditch, fix that problem for us. Future projects, the planners, they got put out today. Sidewalks in the Fountain Park repairs. I don't know where we stand on the whole sidewalks.
I've got to put together a bid package for John Street.
Down Street. Yeah. Items for discussion, just looking for board approval to hire our 2 summer high school kids this year. Have Liam Curley and Aiden McPhail. Aiden worked with us last summer. He can start this coming Monday on the 20th, next Monday. Liam can start as soon as he's done school in June.
I think it's fantastic.
Yep. It'll be our 2 summer kids, all the mowing this summer. That's all I had.
Oh, do you need a resolution? I think the
Not-
higher.
And not normally for that,
Okay.
Okay.
we just bring it up to the board and.
We all shake our head.
It's budgeted,
Right,
so.
they're in the budget for the 2 part-timers.
Excellent.
Are you guys still looking for a DPW person?
Yeah. It's still up there.
Send them Mike's way if you know anybody.
Line one with a CBL.
All right.
I'm not sending them, just my Rose looking to. Youth report for April, you can tell it got warmer and that spring sports started. Because, I mean, it's almost half of what it was in February, in March, for attendance wise. I mean, we're going for over 20 something a month, 12, so, the days, the kids are outside. So it's kind of slow month, Gizmos, we had a pups come and therapy dog, the kids liked that, of course. And Comfort Foods came over and did some, had to make smoothies, that was the kids' request. Coming up this month, there's gonna be the Mega Brain upstairs, you can actually walk through the human brain. So we're trying to advertise that, it sounds fascinating, I'm going. Ukrainian AIDS, just, another arts and crafts project. Bike safety, coming up, bike rodeo, want to try to get that for the kids to go out. For the summer break, we're talking about getting some helmets and stuff that we can give out to those in need, and also bicycles. If anybody know anybody that might be worthy of needing some 2-wheel transportation, please let us know. And of course, our Swifties are everywhere. We're gonna take care of them here soon. What's not on there, we're pursuing getting an AED. When the staff was going through CPR training, fire department kind of mentioned them, what if we had an AED, and we don't, again, it's an automatic external defibrillator. We've seen those around. They're kind of expensive, but the Mary McClellan, and there's organizations that'll deal with us as a not-for-profit, so we can get one. So we'd like to get one and kind of mount it out here on the 2nd floor, so we could have an access from when we're upstairs or downstairs. Anyway, I just thought I'd let you know that's coming, and if you have a preference for where it goes, let me know. But otherwise, I thought somewhere down here by the bathroom area, we could get a cabinet installed there.
I defer to Mike and the EMS team on where it should go. But I definitely think we should need one in the building.
Main hallway. with us.
Okay.
Let us know if you need a partner on the Mary McClellan grant partner
Okay.
application.
Yeah, like I said, usually they work with nonprofits more than municipalities, so,
So we'll sneak in that way.
Thanks.
Excellent.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. I'm up next. For onboarding this Thursday, I'm attending the NICOM conference as well as Donna and Willie will be there too. In Lake George, and then on Monday, I'm attending the DRI New York Forward Forum in Schenectady. I attended the Chamber's annual dinner, which was well attended, and I met with the general manager of Walmart in Glens Falls, and he let me know they have a program that people don't know about where they donate products to local organizations. So that's why they were at the Chamber. I have the information and I've been meaning to send it over to you because they could maybe donate bike helmets.
Yeah, please, thank you.
Yeah. And then I met with the Greenwich Village resident Barbara Price, who's working on developing a project model that would aim to connect seniors with people and or services that will allow them to age in their home safely, support their well-being and improve social connections. She's also meeting with the Washington Department of Aging Supervisory Council and is developing a conversation series with the library on aging and community that starts June 12th. Further conversation and receiving feedback. There's no action required from the village. I just wanted to share that information because I think, if there's not a program like that set up and I'm interested in learning more and having that developed. So you'll start to see that communicated through the library. And then for Hayes Reservoir, Jim Allen will be up in the next few weeks to grade and seed the area that leads into Hayes Reservoir. There was a complaint of potential oil spill from logging equipment. Environmental Conservation Officer Thibodeau visited the site with Superintendent Mike Smith. And we chased him for a little bit, but he did confirm today that there are no violations. The sheen that was noted and photographed was from decaying and decomposing organic material. So no violations. We can open that back up to the public. And more to come then with Parks and Recreation. For the water project, we had our first progress calls for contract number 2 and 1B. Both projects are on track and progressing as expected. The DOT has reached out requesting some adjustments to lane closure restrictions. Willie and Kyle have been instrumental in looking at alternatives and such as lane shifts, and they're going to work with Barton and LaJudas to host a call with New York State Department of Transportation to discuss this in more detail. For water treatment plant, Jane organized an income survey of just residents in the sewer district. To leverage zero funding for the project through EFC. She got letters out in, record time and got them to Brian Perkins, who is our everyone's favorite mailman. And he delivered them himself after his 8-hour vacation. So a shout out to him. This was important because if we can prove the median average income falls below a certain threshold, we are likely to get better financing or 0% financing. So survey data is due back to DNL by May 31st. If people have questions, they should call Jane, who is the village clerk, and she can assist or help them walk through the survey. Greenwich bike and pedestrian connectivity improvements. I missed the meeting on April 25th, but it is moving on to a public launch of the plan as the next step, excuse me. There will be a press release, interactive maps where residents can share feedback, survey questions, and this was part of the comprehensive plan where it was identified the need to improve pedestrian and bicycle access, both in the village and in the town of Greenwich. So the launch is tentatively scheduled for next week, so everyone will start to see that, and please feel free to interact with it and give your feedback on where you think there could be bike racks, where there's safety issues, where there's sidewalks broken. It's very detailed and interesting. So the more feedback, the better. And then tomorrow we have a call with the EPA to find out what the requirements will be for testing the soil out at the Dunbarton Mill site. And that's part of the EPA grant for phase 2 assessment. And as mentioned, the gardening group worked around the gazebo this past Tuesday, and they plan on gardening every Tuesday at 6 p.m. The flags on the gazebo are frayed, and Mike has ordered replacements. So thank you, Maria and Mike, for staying on top of all of that. And all 20 planters have been placed along Main Street. Thank you to Deb Anderson for leading the volunteer group and to the DPW for bringing the vision to life. And of course, the time they're going to invest over the course of the summer, watering our plants. Restore New York round 8. We did a physical walkthrough of 8387 Main Street. I will save you that one because we've already talked about it. And then on to the ZBA. Caitlin Volmer and Zach Infante resigned from the ZBA due to Caitlin having school conflicts, and Zach had started a new job that limits his evening availability. We're required to either have a 3 or a 5 person board. So with both of them bowing out at the same time, The board is going to operate as a 3-person board moving forward. But just wanted to note, we're very much appreciative of their service and dedication, because they've been amazing, and I got to see them in action, and they're very good. And then veteran banners, they're in the process of being displayed. Shout out again to the DPW team for their time and effort on hanging the banners, Maria for coordinating the program. Next Monday, she's picking up the next round of banners to display by Memorial Day, so those will all be up. And then just a note that we've received requests that people want their banners in a very specific location, but unfortunately, that is not something we can, a request that we can accept. So just a little reminder there. Any questions? I know I went through that fast, but you can always find me after the meeting if you have questions too. You do have to do resolution for the tractor. So resolution number 2024. Approval of expenditures for DPW general capital equipment, water and sewer reserves for purchase of a Ventrac tractor subject to permissive referendum. Whereas purchase order number 2024-05-0001 was issued to Capital Tractor for a Ventrac compact utility tractor at a base price of $31,004 and the necessary attachments and accessories at a price of $38,287.20 for a total price of $69,291.20. Trade-in for equipment in the amount of $27,000, which brings the purchase price to $42,291.20. A motion to approve.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Okay. Thank you. And then we have the gazebo painting projects presentation. And Lisa Perkins are here.
Perkins, Lynn and I are both on the gazebo committee, and we are working towards deciding what we're going to do with the gazebo, how we're gonna approach it. And right now, as of our last meeting, which was last week, we passed a resolution that we would refurbish the gazebo, not tear it down and start over. It's structurally fine. The roof does need to be replaced, the shingles rather need to be replaced. But a lot of this isn't going to happen until next year. So in the meantime, we would like to paint the gazebo because it is kind of worn out. It doesn't stand out, and it would kind of just hold its place. I mean, it would pop out, and we'd like to paint it white. We also would like to take the lattice down because underneath the lattice at the top of the gazebo are these beautiful A-frames, excuse me. I only have one picture, unfortunately. That's what it would look like once it was painted. And then at least it would brighten up the space. There's nothing wrong with anything in the gazebo. We want to redo the sound system. We'd like to uplight the gazebo. The gardening club, which I'm part of too, we're going to take all the perennials out. So that next year when we start working on it, that we won't be trampling, we'll just be using annuals, so we won't be trampling anything. This was mainly my thought that I brought to the table when we met at the last season, and there wasn't anybody against it, and a lot of people thought it would make it look a lot nicer. My only concern right now, and I already emailed Brianna Lundy because she asked me to do the circle in purple for June, which I am, and she wanted to do the gazebo in purple for Alzheimer's for June. The problem is if the whole thing is lit up, I can't paint. So what I was thinking of was painting the baseboard underneath the roof, at the bottom of the roof, and the baseboard where the stairs are, all the way around. And that way they could circle purple lights and I could still be able to paint. Or whoever would like to help paint, could paint. So that's what I'm putting before you. Is it okay to paint the gazebo?
And did we hear from the insurance company on liability, or
I think there are forms that they sent us.
that will have whoever's painting
Yes.
sign it?
Okay. This is just the first step. this is not, we don't, we didn't want as a group people to think, oh, it's painted, that's it, that's what we're gonna do. We would like to eventually replace the shingles and change the railing and open up the front, so it's 3 sides of steps. Keep the back open so people can unload their trucks or whatever if there's a concert, but lower the railing so that you could actually see who's in the gazebo and probably replace the floor. Maybe wrap the posts so they're not just rough lumber. But for the time being, instead of it looking the way it looks now, this would just be a little brighter spot in Greenwich. People might actually notice it. Right. So that was what I'm asking.
Lisa, you're gonna take those Christmas lights on?
I can't take the lights off unfortunately, because when I was there the other day, they did all the
Yeah.
staples.
Yeah.
They go all the way to the top. There's no
I
way
know.
to get up there. The ones that are on the bottom, I certainly can reach, but I
Yeah.
can't reach,
They're kind of grown into the wood,
yes.
yeah.
Well, they're actually stapled in. I mean, they're not, they wouldn't be too hard to take out. I just don't know how they did the roof.
Yeah, but in long term, we could put lights in that you can control the colors, so it's not Christmas year round. Or holiday.
Sketchy.
My roof needs to be done.
There's actually light bulbs in this thing. Spot in the sky.
I know,
And if it's lit up, I mean, and somebody sticks.
right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do with the lights? Can those come down easily?
Yeah.
Or they can come down,
They can come down.
may not be easily.
Not easily.
Is that something you can coordinate
Yeah.
in the time frame that she's
Yeah.
thinking about?
Yeah, we can start taking that down.
And the group,
Bucket truck for the flags.
Yeah.
and the group's paying for the paint and all the supplies, or?
Right.
You are.
It was. I didn't want to ask anybody for help. I volunteered that I would, pay for it. There are people that want to help,
One of these book committee. I'm one of those people.
How many people are in this?
Yeah.
there's 10 of us. I think there's 10 of us.
I think it looked beautiful white.
I think it was,
Any other questions for
I
Lisa?
have no idea. Because I don't know how it's gonna soak into the wood. I don't know how fast.
Yeah.
Or how much paint.
Yeah.
Will soak in.
Is that pressure treated?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's certain things do better.
Better than ours.
Yeah.
Right, we just painted a pressure treated gazebo in my backyard and we used porch paint. It was primer and paint together, but it was specifically for porches. And the guy said it would work and it did, it worked beautifully.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that I can get it in bulk. Instead of, gallon cans. But that's my thought.
Any other questions? Jane, did you?
So, yeah, the Union Village event in the middle of June.
I know.
Okay. That's obvious. And
Would you wait till after that? This,
Well, it would depend on when the lights could come down and when I could get people to help. I'd like to just start by doing the faceboard at the top and the faceboard at the bottom so that whoever is working for Brianna that's going to be doing purple lights, I don't know if that's the village or somebody's private is doing that. Okay, so I did email her and ask her if that would be okay, if they just circled the top and circled the bottom, and that way it still leaves us to paint. And of course, we would paint the front first, so,
Right.
the side towards the church. I don't know if I'm gonna get it done before the Village Fest,
I was just thinking about conflict, that's all. So
are they using the gazebo to?
I
put-
wouldn't.
I think
don't
that's where their music is going.
Then I might, I guess I'd have to talk to whoever's,
We can connect you with them.
Yeah, and Sarah Murphy at the library has a permit on the agenda. She's doing music monthly, starting 6/25.
I can coordinate those dates for you. and an email and connect you with
If
them.
they wanted me to wait, I could wait. That's not a problem. I don't have a problem with waiting. But if somebody said, yeah, go ahead, I would probably be out there this weekend.
Paint dries, I mean, paint and it dries.
Motion to approve,
Move to approve.
second,
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right. We're gonna have a pretty gazebo by 4th of July. Okay. Thank you, Lisa.
Yes.
And we have door park improvements.
It's great that we're talking about gardens and the parks, because I wanted to talk to you guys about your park. I'm also on the Greenwich Gardening Committee. And I've been talking to a lot of people and I've made a presentation. Which we can look at while I talk to you guys, and I guess Jane, I'll just tell you when to switch the slide over.
Let me just see.
Okay.
Again.
So this is what we're talking about doing this summer in Door Park. Trying to keep Greenwich moving forward. We can go to slide 2. Door Park it's the small heart, the park right there in the heart of the village. It's part of the ongoing spring summer revival plan that the Greenwich gardeners have in place. Like part of you saw the pots and everything today going out. This group is currently fundraising in an effort to buy flowers and materials. The village has received a request for donation. They're donating all their manpower and expert garden advice to correctly plan to maintain the flowers in the gardens and all the gardens, including Door. The particular thing that the village has interested in the Door Park is that we have 2 structures or features in that park that are currently just ghosts of what was once a very vibrant park space. So the next slide. This is kind of flowers they're talking about putting in there. They're calling it a moon park. White, green, silver flowers, flowering shrubs and trees. They want to move the benches in a semicircle, taking one from the, I guess there's one near the water treatment plant that we're not really using too much, and making a semicircle around the current fountain. And they would like to try and utilize some of the slate sidewalks that we're lifting from the water pipe replacement project and create sort of a welcoming pathway from the sidewalk into the garden. Now we can go to slide 4. This is a picture that I got from Culver Teft of the old fountain with the same base. The Door Park fountain is a historical treasure here in Greenwich, dramatically enhances the village. And it provides an easily accessible, rare water sound space outdoors for our residents who are looking for a place to just have some serenity. This contributes to the health and wellness of our citizens and has held historical affection from residents of all ages for many years. The next slide shows still an older picture of the fountain. These are the pieces we currently have in storage. However, this fountain hasn't worked in over 2 years in Greenwich. The water that you see there does not work anymore. We can go to slide 6. This is what the fountain's looking like these days. This is not a good representation of Greenwich, certainly not good for village morale. This fountain is passed by every day by hundreds of walkers, runners, children, cars. It's going to be especially disheartening this summer when we scheduled to lose several of the trees in the park as well. I think we've let it stand this way for 2 years now, it sounds like, and it's time to restore it for future generations. You can go to the next slide, Jane. Specifically, it needs scraping, painting, hole repair. These things can be handled by the DPW and the volunteers from the Greenwich Gardeners. Electrical repair is the big deal that we need to get it actually up and running again. This needs to be handled by an electrician. So I can show you what the problem is this bad boy right here. This is the source. An electrician was there on the 24th. He recommends replacement of the electric meter itself and the pole that it's on. He says it questions how structurally sound that pole is. Additionally, poor Mike told me he was zapped by it when he touched it last summer, which means it's a safety hazard for village residents and anyone using the park. So either way, we're going to have to address something with it. You have the quote in front of you from the electrician. If you want to see it, there's 2 quotes. One is the meter service and the pole, it's $3,800. If we just try and use the regular pole that's there for now, and buy some time for a year, it's 3,200. That's our big decision for the night. That's one of the big decisions. The next slide can talk about the future of this park. In the middle of the park, there's this beautiful, whoop, we're going back to the beautiful lamp post. I don't know, this sounds like this has been dormant for decades from what I've been hearing. There's no light on it, but it's a really pretty fixture. I think before we can even broach this, we need to decide if we're gonna fix the electricity and get electricity to that. That would be more of a summer 2025 project that I'd like to pursue. So in conclusion, the two things that I wanted to ask you guys about tonight. I think we need to repair the fountain. It's a service repair, not a beautification issue. But on the subject of beautification, we do have a request from the gardeners, and I'm not sure if it's here or not, but in the past, I had some of the past beautification budgets, and we've paid people for the flowers that they bought. I've got some, Terry Kelly got reimbursed a couple of times.
So.
Not very much. We have 3,000 set aside that we have not spent this year. I would like to see if we could give 500 to the gardeners for all the flowers they're putting in, all 9 pocket parks. It's a lot what they're doing. So those are the two things.
Mike, is there power still to that electrical box?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we should probably either
Turn it off.
turn the power off, or, that's a liability issue. We should probably upgrade, replace that, and correct all
Right.
the problems, and we can probably get a couple more estimates.
Yeah, we'll maybe follow the purchasing process to make sure we're doing it. We'll need a couple more quotes.
So that will just
But
transition
that's
over to
something
Mike.
the village should pay
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
So then the other question is, can we donate the beautification commission to the partners?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's a public purpose,
Right.
beautification.
right. So. What line item would that come out of?
There is a beautification.
Okay.
Box.
So,
3,000 in there, and we haven't spent.
and if we're spending money on beautification, $500 for beautification would be an appropriate, if it's budgeted and that's what we're doing, that's what it's for.
Okay, so we don't have to vote on it then if it's in the budget?
Well, I think you should vote to allocate
Yeah.
500 out of that.
I will move that we allocate $500 out of the beautification budget.
Second? I'll second that. All in favor? Okay. Thank you, Donna, for your first PowerPoint presentation. I thought it was fabulous. Very nice. And then we have resolution number 2024, police retirement plan, moving from 25 years to 20 years. Be it resolved that in the interest of retaining a qualified and professional police force, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Greenwich does hereby approve reducing the retirement plan from a minimum of 25 years of service to 20 years. Whereas the cost of approving the police officer's retirement plan from 25 years to 20 years will require appropriating in the budget for the fiscal year of 2024-2025 an additional estimated annual cost of $20,941. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Greenwich does hereby approve the adoption of the retirement plan under section 384D of the Retirement and Social Security Law that allows firefighters and or police officers to retire after rendering at least 20 years of creditable service regardless of their age. Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And, okay, now we're on to old business, which I put on here for animal control law, review. I don't think I have. Yes, okay. This will be more ongoing. I just wanted to start the conversation here because of our recent resident rooster that got people up in arms. It became clear that our animal control law could be tightened up a bit. The process now is if someone wants to have chickens, they come in, they request a permit, and then when the permit's given, it's provided that there is no rooster, what have you, that's written in. So that part could be more specific, in my opinion, saying only egg laying hens allowed in the village because of noise and it could be a nuisance. I also wanted the board to think about a step further, which is right now, someone could get a special permit for pigs, for horses, alpacas, donkeys, whatever they would like. If it's a production animal, if it's considered for agriculture activity. Because the village is so densely populated, and we're very close to our neighbors, I thought we should look at not allowing cloven hoofed or hoofed animals in the village. So my recommendation was just to take a look at the animal control policy with the animal control officer and draft up a new policy for board review. So no decision to be made tonight. I just wanted to let the board know that was something that I was looking into. Just so that it's very clear, because it's basically public misconception that you can't have a pig or a rooster in the village. With a special permit, you can.
Yeah, and I think the special permit is if it's used in an agricultural operation, but at any rate,
We've dealt with roosters before.
we've dealt with roosters, but not pigs and goats, and so I think that is legitimate to prohibit those. Oh, right.
It was probably more prevalent
Yeah,
in a different.
at a
age.
different age, sure.
And there's more land and.
Yeah.
Of course.
Or when people's primary mode of transportation.
Right.
was a-
Yeah,
you know,
animal
when they-
control law
when they're-
is ridiculous.
When there
Yeah.
truly were carriages and carriage houses.
It doesn't actually refer to those kinds of things. That's all right.
And then we have, Willie, the NICER's reporting resolution.
So I'll probably read this because we do this with everyone who submits a record of activities, and it's
Retirement.
for the retirement system for NICERS. And we need to read it just as it is. Be it resolved that the Village Board of Trustees location code 40185 hereby established the following standard work days for these titles and will report the officials to the New York State and local retirement based on their record of activities. So Willie Grimke gave us his record of activities. The standard workday is 6 hours. He had a record of activities result of, with their strange math, 2 hours and 5 minutes. Sorry about that. And that is the resolution. And
So we have to motion to approve this.
this is, so I, Jane Dowling, clerk of the governing board of the Village of Greenwich of the state of New York, do hereby certify that I have compared the foregoing with the original resolution passed on such board at a legally convened meeting held on the 13th day of May, 2024, on file as part of the minutes of such meeting, and that the same is a true copy thereof and the whole of such original. So
That's very confusing.
it's completely confusing. It's so confusing. I had to spend an hour on the phone with him. And I'm still confused.
Anything else with it?
I don't.
Okay, well. Jane signed it, so it must be real.
It's on
Okay.
record.
Moving on, Greenwich Free Library has put in a park permit request. For Greenwich Free Library music at the library, Monday, June 24th, Monday, July 22nd, Monday, August 26th, Monday, September 23rd. The time and duration of the event is 5:30 to 8. They will start later in June and July and earlier in August and September. There will be live music and summer reading book giveaways. They're carry in, carry out. They take very good care of the park whenever they're in there.
I hope we authorize the library park permit.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And then we have a follow-up parade permit from the Union Village Fest Group. They want to close Church Street Friday night. They already submitted one to close it Saturday for the duration of the event. Friday night, they do have live music and they'll have food trucks, and they met with DPW. I think it was the DPW that recommended they shut down Church Street that evening.
Right. I will move the amended permit.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. And then there's a new event coming to town. So there's a peddler permit, they pop-up vendor. Jason, and I know you know about this if you want to step in at all. Jason Planitzer and Owl Pen. It's Off Track Records is partnering with Owl Pen, and they're gonna host a pop-up at 99 Main Street on June 1st from 12 to 5 p.m. And they'll have vinyl records for sale. Which is 99 Main Street in London.
It's gonna be where Coffee and was,
Right.
in there. He's Sarah's husband, he's got a really cool record shop, and I think it'll be a really cool event. They're gonna talk about doing maybe some DJ sets and pulling in some more record vendors.
And it's on the same day that Clutch opens,
Yeah.
so there'll be a lot going on, which is great.
Downtown will be rocking.
Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
And all in favor?
Aye.
All right, any correspondence, Jane? All right, and before we move into public comment, I would like to say that the board and I take public comments very seriously, and we ask for the public's cooperation in maintaining this environment so it's conducive to sharing ideas and voicing of opinions. To that end, we ask if, when recognized, you state your name, your resident, and just keep comments to 3 minutes, and be mindful that you should not address or single out one board member, but speak to the board as a whole. Is there any public comments? All right, that was easy. Then
I've got a little ancillary piece to the water project.
oh, thank you.
We'll start, it's, in the near future, the end of Hill Street from like Bleecker to Maine.
That's-
Right, that's pending. I don't know where that's gonna fly with their schedule, but there's the school bus drop off at St. Joe's that we ought to consider.
For the school, the summer program in the town.
Well, sure, I mean, there's all the stuff going on at the church with the summer program, but there's definitely that school bus comes now in the afternoon. And, just warrants some discussion with the bus garage and the folks that lifts, right? That's what we're still calling it.
That's, lifts is in August, isn't it not?
I think that's just the school bus to the school.
Oh, the
It's
school
not
bus to the
what's
school, so so between now and the end of June, they'll be picking up, yeah.
Right, so, and I'm not, it's not an absolute that there's gonna be conflict.
But it's something we should keep our eye
Yeah,
on.
we should be in front of it before,
Yeah.
a track goes blocking the way of a school bus and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear what Willie said, because I was gonna mention that the bus does drop in front of the Sixth Academy here, Sixth Academy.
Yeah.
So, if they can't drop here, they can drop on this side and, walk that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's accommodations to be made just to, move.
We just don't want surprises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We can coordinate with the
Yeah, I
school.
can work with TKC and the school.
Fantastic.
Did a schedule for the school work.
Yeah, he's hopped around a little bit from the initial
Yeah.
schedule, so he might just opt to, avoid it till school's done, but then we still need to consider he's gonna go on at St. Joe's with lifts over the summer.
Good call out.
Yeah, that starts like a week after school ends. It starts really early this year.
Okay, question.
Yes.
Has anybody ever, I don't know, word it, the Amish, is there any restrictions as far as the village is concerned about the Amish coming into the village to do work?
To do work, like to construct or,
And building, cement work? Is anybody running?
I think they're like a treat it as a normal contractor would be.
Right. And if
They have
anything,
to have some kind of proof of insurance or.
Well, for the person they're working for,
Mhm.
but I mean, I can hire a contractor to do something at my house.
Right.
If they don't have insurance, it's my bad. You know,
And
they
if it-
should,
and
but
if it's something that requires a building permit,
Then
you
they
have to
have-
have a building per.
then they have to
Let's
get
go
a
through the
building
process,
permit
yeah.
just like everybody else.
They could come in and paint, just not work, and
I don't see why not.
put in a window, maybe light contracting,
Mhm.
contracting work. It's probably rules that they've got. I've seen
Yeah.
it both ways, if they have come into the village, and done work, and then their, whatever they call their leader, says, no, we can't work inside a incorporated village.
Oh, well,
I hadn't
They
heard
don't
that
want
yet.
to do it, so. But the
their
village.
choice. If the village doesn't have any regulations,
No.
especially for Amish.
Any other questions?
I have a question about the Walmart thing there.
Yes,
Is it possible to get like paintbrushes donated or?
absolutely. Yeah.
Ask the question.
I'll get the information to you too. Yeah. And they said they have lots of product and sometimes they donate gift cards. But people don't use it because they just didn't know it was a thing, so. Okay. Do they paint? Maybe, I don't know. Is that a great one? All right, so motion to close,
Motion to adjourn.
adjourn. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay.
Right, that was a lot of.
Yeah, maybe.